Alrighty, welcome everyone. This is Debola here to show off a bit of Winston coaching, just per se. First, to start off with, I want to discuss exactly what makes Winston so good. The reason you want to really pick Winston is just the factor that he can get to an enemy so quickly and get that right focus that it can often be easy just to take advantage real quickly in a fight. So it's like having that pick potential, but you're more physical into it. Alright, so in terms of Winston's abilities, we obviously have our jump back here. And we have our shield. Now, understanding what the advantages that these give is not only, of course, like with jump pack where you can get to somewhere in a hurry, but it also does that 50 damage onto a target instantly, and that's actually a really big deal for his burst. For his shield, you of course got this all-encompassing pretty much barrier, which even though it doesn't last very long, it doesn't take too much damage to break. It's a great zoning tool, pretty much. So like, while you're inside, you have an enemy out here, and they decide to come in, you can just dance around in your shield, of course. Or if you have an ally that's trying to be focused, get between, have that shield, and there's like, it's double walled, so you have the two walls that create this line of sight on it for your allies against enemies, and at the same time they're able, of course, shoot through it. So, very strong ability. And the last one that I haven't mentioned is pretty much his ultimate. I'm going to go ahead and just get it set up here real quick. Alright, pretty close. There we go. Alright. So, the ultimate. Obvious factors about it. Once activated, your health goes up to 1,000. No matter where your health is, like you could be at 1 health, it goes straight up to that 1,000. Very strong for survival tool, as well as continue to put on pressure for the enemies. On top of that, it's none of your abilities are able to be used at that time, but you're constantly using a knockback melee. Does pretty okay damage, and the general purpose of it is two things. One, it can allow you to focus target. You want to push them against a wall to do so, which will pretty much guarantee a kill. I mean, you're not going to be that easy to kill yourself, so it's a good way to get a kill if you want that. Secondly, it's a great displacement tool. Displacement is probably the most powerful kind of a tool you have in the game, per se. So if you knock, say, a Mercy towards your team, they can focus her. You can knock a Ryan off a ledge so he can't protect his team. That's just the power of displacement, getting your enemies to go where they don't want to be. So gotta show off a little bit of that power of Winston's ult against an enemy here. Yep, there we go. Alright, so now that we got the abilities down, next step I will be showing is a few tricks of the advanced tricks, I should say. The first advanced trick, like, obviously you know how when you're in the air, you control where it goes. Well, not many people tend to know this, but you can actually make short jumps once you jump and you're holding the back button. This tends to be at pretty much 10 meters. As you can see, 30 meters here, 40 meter there, so that's 10 meters. So I'll make the short jump from here. 10 meters. If I didn't hold the back button, this is what would actually happen. So yeah, no good there. And then the second advanced tip I'm going to kind of show off here is his optimal DPS. gonna actually knock that off real quick. Ah.
Survival of the fittest.
Alright. So, optimal DPS. Essentially what you do is that while you're jumping toward the target, you're obviously using your shock for the preemptive damage, and as soon as you land, you're going to want to use your melee. Essentially, if you've done correctly, in that single second that you're dealing damage, you'll probably get pretty close to 100. Which when you work together with like a Zenyatta or Genji, it can come pretty close to being like an instant kill against an enemy if you have good cooperation with those allies. So, as well, once you're following up with shock damage, if you see an enemy at 35 health and they're standing pretty close to you, you have the option of meleeing them as well for a slightly faster kill. Usually you won't really do this because you prefer the more guaranteed damage from shock, but it can help, say, if you're in a 1v1 duel and it's pretty close where you need that slight advantage. So here's a demonstration of the optimal DPS. So, that's it. That's the optimal DPS. Alright. So, when do you want to pick Winston would be a pretty good question to ask here. It depends on the enemy comp, the map, and your personal team comp. Winston can usually do pretty well with just about any team comp, but he excels more with specific ones. As for enemy comps, there's generally certain specific enemies you're wanting to avoid, because they're gonna pretty much shut you down pretty easily. Such enemies would be like Bastion, sometimes Reaper. You can duel Reaper if you are pretty comfortable with Winston, but most of the time Reaper's gonna beat you pretty well. And then there's sometimes Roadhog. If you have good shield management, he shouldn't be too much of an issue. But if he hooks you, you're pretty much gonna have to jump right out of the fight. Maps that Winston tends to like are places like Numbani. You have these areas that are high that you can take advantage of, which allows you to get the line of sight you need to in order to jump on the enemies. There's probably not really any maps specifically that you can't play them on, but like I said, a place where you can kind of plan out when to jump in to take advantage, those line of sights are pretty good. As for your the personal team comp, as I've mentioned, it's not really much those that you can't play with, but the ideal ones are usually dive comps. So you want to have like Lucio, Genji, maybe a Zenyatta because of that synergy. If you have that Genji, Zenyatta, Winston synergy, you can literally destroy a designated target in a split second. But doing your optimal DPS and Genji dashes in, that alone is all that's needed to kill them in 1 second. As long as they're discorded. You also got some supports that do well with him, like Zarya. When you're doing that combo and you're going in for that punch, it can shut down your capability of putting down a shield. So you can get so she really helps in that situation to prevent you from getting damaged, but at the same time she gains energy from doing so. Then I guess you could also say that Tracer is a pretty good option to work with Winston as well. I just don't feel like she has that immediate impact that Genji does, but she has impressive damage that she can really work out, especially since she can keep up with your actions. And then the last one I'll mention is Pharah. It's a little more difficult for her to be immediate on your on your jumps, but because she can deal such massive damage, direct hit being 120 obviously, and then it can be reduced down to 80 and 40. It's that damage combined with Winston's consistent damage can be make it pretty easy to get kills. So, alright, so that's pretty much my guide to Winston. Hopefully you found it useful, and have a good day.